Okay, the Canadian men have lost 4-3 to the Germans in the Olympic semi-final, so they're not going to be playing for gold. Until the Germans got that first goal, the Canadians were all over them. They were, but they couldn't convert their chances. The Germans get a power play, and the first goal was brilliant. The third goal between his legs is a thing of how's he done that? Oh yes, a one-timer between the legs. I'm not joking. You have to see the replay of it. That is an outstanding piece of skill. All these German players are all based in Germany. Between them, they've only got like 500 games in the NHL. The Canadians have 5,000 NHL combined games. And that's before these are all ex-NHL players. Some are playing in Europe, some are playing in the AHL, some are playing in the KHL because of whatever reason that's where they're playing right now. So this is a very experienced Canadian side. And one or two of them would have got into a Canadian side in the past as well, if they were still in NHL, like Ben Scrivens, for example. He was playing in the NHL until as recently as, I think, last year or the year before. He would have got into a Canadian side at a previous Olympics, I have no doubt, because he wouldn't be playing Stanley Cup hockey because the teams he was playing for at the time weren't in the Stanley Cup finals. Simple. Well, in the playoffs. The Canadian response to the first 3 goals was too lacklustre. They got back 3-1, then it was 4-1, then it was 4-2, then it was 4-3, and then the last 5 minutes they decided to play. At which point the Germans dug their trenches and stuck in, and the thing was, the Germans were more physical than the Canadians. The Canadians then retaliated with silly penalties such as high sticks, and then the headshot to, I think, Wolf is his name. He shouldn't have played on. He was carried off the ice. He was completely concussed. He was knocked cold. He comes back in the third. How he passed that head injury assessment, I'll have no idea, which will raise questions about the player welfare again. But the Canadians had a player thrown. They didn't like being roughed up by the Germans, and the Germans were on borderline of occasionally a few penalties away, but they gone out there knowing we're not as skilled, we're gonna have to get physical, and they did. And they did a number, and the Canadians didn't like it. The Canadians retaliated, and then they lost control. They had too many penalties. They were Willie Desjardins. He's not a good coach in my eyes. He's a poor coach. He was poor at Vancouver. If you're a Vancouver fan, you will know about Willie Desjardins and how crap he was last year. He accidentally got into the playoffs the year before last. He's a shit coach. His players lost control. The Canadian team lost the plot. They lost their discipline. And there was no shouting from the bench going, calm it down, focus. There was none of that. He allowed his players to lose discipline and control. And it comes down to the coach. They weren't overly a great Canadian side. They didn't perform well at this tournament because they didn't. It doesn't matter who you have available. They just didn't perform. Willie Desjardins should never have got the job. It should have been Mark Crawford. He's had experience at the Olympics before. He should have been selected as coach. That's my personal opinion. An opinion is split on Mark Crawford. If you're a Canadian hockey fan, I understand that. When he was a Colorado Avalanche coach, he divides opinion. That's fine. I have no doubt in my mind that he's the better coach. He's done it before. But the Germans, well done. That was a team performance. And I think they could possibly surprise the Olympic athletes of Russia, the Russian team. I think they really could. I think the KHL is a different style of play. The Germans are very, very physical. It would be nice to see the Russians not win an Olympic gold in this event. I really want the Germans, however much, I don't like Germany. Jokes aside, I actually would like to see the Germans do it because I don't want to see the Russians have already had 2 more athletes done for doping offences as the Olympics athletes of Russia, so they're still not a clean state. With all the politics over it, it would be great that the Russians didn't win. If the Russians win that it's basically, it's a slap in the face to the IOC trying to ban these people, that they still had Olympic athletes from Russia to go, even though they banned them. But I'm going for Germany to win the Olympic gold. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll have some more videos for you soon.